back to Stylish Naija YouTube channel. I want to say thank you to all of my subscribers. I really appreciate you guys a whole lot for subscribing to my channel. So if you are new to my channel, this is the first time of you coming across Stylish Naija YouTube channel, I would appreciate if you hit on the subscribe button, subscribe to my YouTube channel, and then join the Stylish family. So this is a new month, so my online classes for this month, if you want to register, if you're interested in registering for my online class for this month, so you see my number scrolling through the screen, so you could just copy out the number and then send me a message on WhatsApp, and then I'll give you the details of this of the various classes that I actually have for this month of March. Let's just get started. Today I'm going to be showing you how to cut and sew a trendy and designer sleeve. Yeah, when I say trendy sleeve, is actually a trendy sleeve, is a beautiful sleeve. That's just basically what I'm just going to name it. It's an off-shoulder sleeve. Actually, that's what I'm going to be showing you how to cut and sew. So you could see the picture up here. I've been seeing this sleeve for some time, so I decided to do a tutorial on it. Okay, let's just get started without much talk. So I'm going to be making use of this fabric. I'm going to use this for the basic, and that's the basic sleeve. Why I'll use this to cut out the flange. I'll use this to cut out the flange. I'm going to keep on the side. Let's draft on our pattern paper so it will be so easy and obvious for everyone to see. The first thing we're going to draft a basic off-shoulder sleeve. It's really quick, easy, and fast. And we're just going to get started. To draft a basic off-shoulder sleeve, you're going to measure how long you actually want your sleeve to be. Because it is an off-shoulder sleeve, you can decide to drop the sleeve with 4 inches or 5 inches, depends on how down you want it to be. That's how off you want it to be. So for the sake of this illustration, I'm going to drop with about 4 inches, and then I have the full length. This sleeve is almost like a long sleeve. I'm going to drop with 4 inches, and then what I actually have here now, this is 18 inches, so I'll add 1 inch to it that I'll use as my stitching allowance. I'm just going to mark it like this. And then the next thing that you are going to use in folding your sleeve, you are going to use your sleeve round sleeve measurement. So for this, because the round sleeve measurement that I'm actually using, that's for the top part of this part of my sleeve. My round sleeve is 10 inches. So when you divide 10, you see it is folded into 2. When you divide 10 into 2, you have 5 inches. This is 5 inches. I'm just going to bring it close. This is 5 inches, and then you add 1 inch for seam allowance. This is 1 inch, and then you are going to take this point like this. You're going to take this point. Remember, we're dropping with 4 inches. This is our 4 inches, and then our basic sleeve, I'm using 9 inches for my armhole. This is my 9 inches. I will rule it out right now. So the next thing you are going to do now is your sleeve and circumference. That's your round sleeve measurement. So you just use your own applicable one on this bicep part. Mine is actually 15 inches. This is 15 when you divide into 2, and then I'll add allowance. And then on my wrist part is actually 6 inches, and then I'll add my allowance. So I'm going to just do this right now. This is just like a very simple way of drafting out a basic off-shoulder sleeve. So I'm going to cut it out right now, and then we'll start drafting the flange for the sleeve. So guys, you see, this is our sleeve. This is what I'm going to place here, and then I'm going to cut. I'll use it to cut. I'll cut out with this. So we'll keep on the side. So before I keep on the side, I could decide to work on my pattern paper. I think let's work directly on the fabric. So I'll cut this out right now from here. Okay, I've cut out the sleeve now. The next thing we're going to do now, we're going to mark the part we're going to be putting our flange. So we're going to mark it out right now. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to use a 1/4 of an inch difference, but before then, I don't want it to get to the end and part of my sleeve. That's the flange. So I'm just going to measure. I'm going to just eyeball it like this. and then I'm going to come to this part. So this part and this part, that's where I'm going to start from. So I'm just using just like a straight line to connect it. I'm not using any particular measurements. I'm just going to rule like this. This is like where the first one is will start from, and then this is where the second one on this other side will start from also. So I use 2 inches from the side seam to 2 inches. So the next thing I'm going to do now, this sleeve, you can also do it on a basic sleeve. That's the normal sleeve. It does not necessarily need to be an off-shoulder sleeve. The next thing I'm going to do now, my flange, where it's going to be starting from. So I'm going to measure the length, but before I measure the length, I'm going to mark out and the lines that I'm going to be using. The closer it is, the better. You could decide to do 1 inch apart, you could decide to do 1/4 of an inch, or you could decide to do half inch. So it depends on how close you actually want them to be. I think I'm going to do like half of an inch. So here's what I'm trying to do. I'm just trying to mark out 1/2 inch. I will mark it to the end of my sleeve, like so. So it depends on how close you want it to be. So I'll roll them up straight now to the end. Okay, you can see I finished putting all of my lines on my basic sleeve. The next thing I'm going to do now, we're going to measure for you to know how long, that's the length of the flange that you are going to do. We're going to create out a flange like this, like so. That's what we're going to create out. So you're just going to measure how long. So what I have here, the longest part that I have here is actually 18 inches. You could decide to make it longer and then cut them all out. So I'm going to start creating out the flange now. So what I'm going to do now, you are going to make use of your regular flay measurement to do this. Your regular flay measurement of the regular flay, and to divide your radius of your circle, which is a 6.28 formula. So what I'm going to do for this now, I'm going to use 3 inches depth, or I could do 2.5, depends. I could do, okay, I'll do 3 inches. So this is just like the way you cut out your flay, so I don't want to really deliberate on it. So the length that I'm going to use, that's the length that I'm going to use from this point to this point. I'm going to make use of 4.5 inches. You can choose any inch of your choice. I'll cut out 4.5 because at the end of the day, I'm going to use an overlock seam to close up the edges. So at the end, and then the fixing at the end, it will be, what will remain will be like 4 inches. So this is my 4.5. So I'll cut it out right now. So you see what I have. So when I open it up now, it's going to run from this point down to this point. So before I open it up, I'm just going to take one part of my flange like this, and then I'm going to curve it. You can decide to curve it however. You can decide to curve it however you want to curve it, or you can just decide to open it up. Depends on what you actually want. So I could just undo this. Like I said, you can just open it up like this. You see what I have. You see how beautiful it is looking. So when you fix now, you're just going to fix it like this from this point like this. The essence of uncurving that point is just for it not to stand straight like this, just to have fine and curved edge. So that's just like basically the essence. So you see what I have now. It's going to run from up down. So I'll curve the edge. And with this, I'm going to cut out what I have here. You are going to count the lines that you have. So I'm going to cut out about 13 pieces of this that I'm going to use for this. So in cutting out this, you can decide to make use of an organza. You can decide to make use of a satin. Depends on what you really want to make use of for this. And then if you are making use of satin or organza, you should need about 2 yards to do one sleeve. So I'm going to place now, and then I'll cut out all of my pieces, and then I'll show you how to stitch them on the machine. Okay, so I'm going to start stitching now. From this part, I actually left 1 inch. That's what I'm going to use to fold. That you're going to use to fold at the end of the day. So I'm going to start stitching this top part also. I'm going to leave 1 inch so that I'm going to use to cover up this part. So if you want to line it, you'll still be able to line it also. So if you are going to line it, you are going to make sure that this 1 inch that you're cutting at, you add it to the armhole part. We're going to start stitching now. So here's what I have. I'm going to start stitching. I'm going to start from the middle. Here's what I'm going to do like this. So you are going to do it however it's going to work for you. So I'll take it from the down up. It will be better for me that way. So I'm going to take from this point like this. I'm going to stitch it following my lines like this. I'll just stitch it along the line. So we're going to just be layering them basically on top of each other like so. Because it is cut on flange form, so normally and naturally it stands on its own. So I have excess which I'm going to cut out once I'm done. So you see how it's going to look like. So I'm going to put the second one also. I'm just going to keep creating them like so, on top. So I'll take it to the next line. You see, this is the next line like this. I'm going to place it like this and then I'll stitch. So that's just how I'm going to basically do all until I exhaust all of my flange. So I'm going to do that and then show you how it will look like. Okay guys, so you see what we have. So this is how you're just going to keep layering them, layer upon layer upon layer, until the whole sleeve is filled up to this point, and then this side also is filled up to this side. But because of the sake of this illustration, I'm just going to stop right now. So after completing everything, the next thing you are going to do, you're just going to take your sleeve like so, tuck them in, and then you measure out. So that was what I was talking about, folding or lining this part. So after doing that, you're just going to measure out your full sleeve and circumference. Your round and sleeve and measurement. So I'm just going to complete it now, stitch it out, and then I'll show you how it will look like at the end of the day. Okay guys, so at the end of the day, the sleeve is going to look like this. So you see that we actually achieved what I showed you earlier on. And once I started stitching, so I realized that you could actually use you could actually use 1 inch spacing. You understand? You could use as much as 1 inch, even 1.5 inch spacing. So in order for it not to be too full and then not looking like a masquerade or looking funny, so you could do 1 inch or 1.5 instead of the 1/2 inch initially. So at the end of the day, this is what the sleeve is going to look like. So it came out beautifully well, and thank you so much. If you find it helpful, please hit on the like button, subscribe to my YouTube channel if you have not done so already. So thank you so much. I'll see you in my next video. Bye.